So in your arrow of causation, we need to become transcendent in order to attain enlightenment.
Yes. In short, yes.
Okay, good. I got it. And now, how do we deal with altered states? Is it required that you have an altered state in order to begin this process, or does this process then create the altered state?
Well, altered states are basically shifts in the way the mind works, in which and the way we experience. And there are some altered states, for example, states of great concentration and clarity and calm and love and compassion, which have characteristics of the enlightened state. So one way of moving in the direction of enlightenment or waking up is to cultivate the very qualities that the enlightened state embodies. So yes, we can, as one way of moving towards enlightenment or waking up, we deliberately practice those very qualities and cultivate those transcendent states which embody the qualities of, for example, love, compassion, insight, understanding. And hopefully, if we're lucky, and if we stick with it long enough, then those qualities may become an enduring way of being. And the religious scholar Houston Smith said it beautifully. He said, our task is to transform flashes of illumination into abiding light.
Let me ask a personal question. You, trained as a brain scientist, have entered into these meditative practices for some
30 years.
30 years. What can you share with us? What personal experiences have you felt in your psychological growth that might help a poor guy like me?
Well, I'm still a poor guy like me too, but it has been a wonderful journey of exploration. And I started, much to my surprise, I was interested, but I didn't really expect a lot. But I began to do meditation practice, and immediately several things became apparent. One is that I don't have much control over my mind. I sit down to focus attention on the breath or to cultivate love, and the next thing I'm having a fantasy about being on the beach or having a good dinner last night. So it was very humbling and very rapid recognition that our untrained minds are out of control, that they jump all over the place, and we're pretty unconscious. And what is, I think, one of the most startling discoveries of all in my entire lifetime has been recognizing that we live in a state of fragmented awareness, and yet unless we systematically investigate our awareness, we don't recognize that. That's pretty amazing. So then I became very intrigued and, of course, took up these practices with a fair bit of gusto and discovered a number of things. First off, that it is really possible to train the mind. William James, the great American psychologist a century ago, said that no human being could maintain attention on a single object for more than 3 seconds. Well, in meditation, they teach you to maintain it for minutes or longer. And that brings extraordinary capacities, because now we can focus attention and we have some control. And one of the extraordinary things you discover is that the mind takes on the qualities of the things we attend to. For example, if you now think of an angry person, you tend to become angry. If you think of a loving person, you tend to become loving. So when you've trained attention and can hold it, you can now choose, for example, to think of someone who embodies love. And that does something wonderful. It cultivates those very qualities within us. So now you begin to appreciate something quite wonderful, that simply by directing attention to people with the qualities we desire to have, we can begin to develop them. So that's pretty inspiring and exciting. So then one begins to also see the way the mind works. You can look at the mind with great precision and see, for example, that a single thought has dramatic effects. For example, if a thought arises, I'm scared, then usually what happens is the body starts pumping adrenaline, the muscles contract, and I'm scared. But imagine if the thought arises and you have a clear, calm awareness and you see, oh, there's a thought, I'm scared. Isn't that interesting? It has no effect on you. So one begins to develop a freedom that is quite remarkable. This is not a political freedom or an economic freedom. This is an inner freedom, a freedom from the emotions and thoughts which have run our lives, even though we haven't been aware of them. So I've just been amazed at the potentials of our own minds and what they can do, and how the insights that become available and the understanding that offers. And although I can certainly do not claim to be wise, what I have appreciated is that the great sages who spend a lot of time exploring the way the mind works do develop an insight into themselves and into life, which is very hard to obtain just by looking outside. Knowledge comes from acquiring information. Wisdom comes from reflecting on our experience. And we have a lot of information in this world. We don't have a lot of wisdom. And frankly, I think our civilization is going to make it or not, depending on whether we balance knowledge with wisdom.